You're watching Cable 2. You're watching Cable 2.
Welcome to the special call Board of Education Finance Committee meeting. Today is Monday, September 14th. Beautiful day outside. I think my screen froze here, but I am Angela Harrison, Superintendent. I will turn the meeting over to the Finance Chair, Dana Jones.
Thank you, Dr. Harrison. Before we get started, let's establish a quorum of the Finance Committee meeting. I will, Dr. Harrison, if you'll just take the roll.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Dana Jones.
Present.
Andrea Bramer.
Present.
Deanna Kaplan.
Present.
Elizabeth Motzinger.
Present.
And Marilyn Parker.
Present.
All present. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So, committee members, we have two items before us. That one is it's our compensation recommendations. These were covered at our last board meeting, but we needed to bring those back. What you will see is the teacher supplement, local supplement compensation, which our voters voted on at the ballot box, and so we need to adjust that salary schedule so that we can get our teachers paid. And the other conversation is around a 3% bonus for our classified employees. I think we've gone into a little bit more detail in this presentation, where we'll also talk about a timeline for some compensation recommendations for classified employees as well. So I believe that Andrea Gillis, our Chief Financial Officer, will kind of kick us off with that discussion.
Hello, good evening, Finance Committee members, other board members, and Dr. Harrison. Gentleman Bonner Reed and Dr. Harrison and I will review the proposed changes to policy 4141 and present salary recommendations for 2021. I'm going to bring up the presentation. Can everyone see the presentation?
Yes.
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 Okay. So we'll start with teachers and certified support personnel and their state salary per State Bill 818. Teachers received a one-step increase for the 2021 school year. A teacher must have worked at least 120 days in 1920 school year in order to receive this raise and this step increase. If the teacher does not meet the criteria, they remain at the 2019-20 state rate. Locally paid teachers and certified support personnel receive the same step increase. That amount was included in our budget request to the county. This increase was effective July 1 and has been paid in the July and August paychecks. Certified support personnel include instructional coordinators, social workers, instructional coaches, EC audiologists, speech and language pathologists, educational diagnosticians, instructional facilitators, media coordinators, school counselors, school nurses, and school psychologists. All teachers and certified instructional support personnel will receive a lump sum bonus of $350 by October 31st, 2020 as well. This is per the SB 818. And the teacher must be employed in the above role as of October 1st, 2020 in order to receive this bonus, and it will not be considered compensation for the purposes of retirement. The local supplement portion of the teachers and support personnel salaries. Teachers and certified support personnel schedules will increase for the projected $11 million in revenue pursuant to the 1/4% or the quarter sales tax, county sales tax and use increase, which was known as Article 46. The proposed changes to the policy 4141 will be as follows. It will be comprised of 3 components: the salary schedule. There will be the state rate, the local supplement rate, and the local Article 46 supplement. The local Article 46 supplement is based on the sales tax increase and could fluctuate from year to year based on the amount of the sales tax collected. Therefore, the Article 46 supplement will be adjusted up or down and allocated to reflect the total revenue collected. So as far as the recommendation is, we are recommending an across the board increase to ensure all applicable employees receive a $2,000 increase. Including this $2,000 increase is the $715 increase that was given by local government in 1920. In future years, if sales revenue increases, the additional revenue can be used to provide a graduated schedule to address local supplements in priority order for beginning, mid-range, and veteran level certified staff. In addition, we are recommending moving to a single supplement table as reflected by the current one for those hired before 2010. I'm going to unshare this for a second and share the salary schedule so that you can see what I'm talking about.
Oh, Andrea, this is Dana. I just want to interrupt for just a moment. I think, Ms. Kaplan, did you have a question?
I do. Thank you so much. So we received a letter from a speech pathologist, and she had mentioned that the local supplement was cut by $60 a month. What is the reason behind this? And is that accurate?
No, the previously previously posted salary schedule had an error in it because we were moving from 2 schedules per group to 1 schedule per group, and there was an error in the formula. That is not the accurate one. The one that's posted right now is the most accurate, up-to-date one for speech pathologists. And you can see right here, their salary is the same as last year. That one has not changed. That error has been corrected on this version that we're going to approve today. That was not the case. So
Thank you.
I'm going to scroll up to, if you guys can you guys see the screen I'm looking at now?
Yes.
Okay, so here's the new proposed salary schedule. Prior to this, in previous years, we had 2 schedules per group. We have the Bachelor A, the Masters, the NIBITS A, NIBITS Bachelors, and then the NIBITS Masters, as well as the speech language and psychology schedule. So now we're going to go to 1 schedule per group instead of having 2. So it's not going to be prior to 2010, and then after 2010, it's just going to be the 1 schedule. So as you can see, there is a column that says monthly base. This is the state base that is determined by the state. These amounts have not changed since last year. However, our certified teachers and support staff that are eligible have been given a step increase. So they move 1 step up on the pay scale. So that's this column. The next column is the monthly local supplement column. And this represents the amount that was in the 18-19 salary schedules. This is the amount that they had in 18-19 prior to the 715 that they got annually last year. And so then next we have the Article 46 supplement, which is the $200 a month or $2,000 a year over 10 months that will be funded by the sales tax increase. So we'll have three columns for pay. They'll really only see 2 separate pays in their pay stub because it'll be the total supplement column that they will see on their pay stubs. But for the purpose of the chart, in order to see what the actual sales tax revenue generates, we're separating it out so we can make sure we know how much that amount is based on what the county tells us the revenue is. So this will be the new chart. And so they'll have a total supplement column, a total monthly column, and then a total annual column. So this is the 10-month schedule. And this schedule over here is the exact same dollar amount, except for this is for people who are selecting to be paid over 12 months with the installment pay instead of getting paid over 10 months. So these amounts match, the totals match, but the monthly amount will be different because based on the fact that they're getting paid over 12 months. Does anybody have any questions on the salary schedules? All right, I'm going to switch back over to the presentation now.
Maybe this is the wrong time to ask a question. How many total employees do we have that this is going to impact on the teacher salaries and then like the speech and language pathologists?
We have about between 4,200 to 4,300 certified people on our certified pay scale.
Okay. And
so a little bit above 4,000.
So about 4,000, and they each are going to get about 2,000. And how much does that equal?
Well, they'll get 2,000 in there. They'll get the $2,000, which will be 1,285 above what they got last year. They'll also get their step increase that they've already received in July from the state if they got a step increase. So their increases will vary per person because if you include the totals, the state and local pay, it's going to be a different for each person based on if they moved up on the step or not.
Right, I was just trying to understand what we promised the voters and our teachers. What is the amount with these 4,000 teachers?
It's the 11 million that we got from the county, Ms. Monsinger.
So, no, I understand it's the 11 million. I'm just trying to find out which fourth. I'm so tired because I have things going on. But I'm trying to understand if we have 4,000 employees and they're each getting 2,000 more. What is that figure?
It didn't. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, the county funded $715 last year. That they said that would be included in the sales tax revenue this year. So they got an additional $1,285. They're getting additional $1,285 this year.
Yeah, no, I understand that. I was just trying to understand of the $11 million we have been fronted by the county commissioners. How much are we spending here on the $2,000 a teacher?
The math is
all of that because we have to pay.
4,000 times 2,000 is $8 million.
Yeah, but we pay, our benefit load is about 30%, 29.33% for benefits.
Right.
Okay.
So we will spend all of that money.
Okay, I just wanted that really clarified and clear.
Right. Yes.
How
We
much?
will spend more than the 11 million that they're going to give us, probably a little bit above that. Once you calculate it all out, because we pay 29.33% for our FICA and retirement costs that have to be included in this. So,
Right.
even though we got 11 million, we have to pay benefits as well. So the benefit costs had to be included in that amount. So we will spend the full $11 million.
Right, that was all I wanted, was to make sure that was clear, that we were spending all the money we said we were spending. That's all.
Well, we took the 11 million, factored in the benefits, and then divided the number of people into that amount, and then that's how we came up with the dollar amount that we're proposing now.
Okay, thank you.
Before we move on, Andrea, I think that Board Member Burke has a question as well.
Yes, thank you, Board Member. Good afternoon, everyone. I think my question may have been answered, but my Wi-Fi went out for just a couple of minutes, and I just want to make sure that I understand where our speech language pathologists are. I want to make sure that they are not going to receive a decrease of $60.
No, you may not have heard because your Wi-Fi was out. There was an error in the previously posted salary schedules. The ones that are posted today for today's meeting have been corrected, and there will be no decrease. They will get the same supplement increase and step increase, in this proposed state step increase that the state proposed in their budget, as well as the same increase as the other certified people.
Thank you so much, Ms. Gullis.
Okay, I think that's all the questions at this time. So if you'd like to proceed, Andrea, that'd be wonderful. Thank you.
All right. Next, Dr. Harrison is going to go through some of our challenges.
Some of our challenges that we needed to articulate relative to the classified pay raise. When you're in January of 2020, you have a different outlook about the finances and what's going to happen during the next year. And we had no idea that we would have the challenges, but I think we were very, very fortunate and in a very good place. And so I just wanted to bring out some of those challenges to let you know that they were considerations as we went through looking at classified salaries. The first, we know that we did go to the county commission for a 3% salary increase for our classified, and that was not funded because it was above our formula, and we are funded using a formula. We also saw a $2.8 million reduction in our funding, even though we had a formula, that was reduced by 2.8 based on projected reduction in county revenues. The available general fund balance, in addition, we did not know this until the audit came through, was reduced by $5.4 million, which was another consideration we had to make. And then in 2020, we decided, and I know I had you all support, to provide meaningful work for classified staff, meaning that although some classified staff members did not have work in their particular roles, we adopted different various activities that they could do to support student achievement and student learning so that we would not have layoffs, because I think we all felt that it would do us no good as a community to have layoffs. And also, I wanted to bring to your attention during this past fall, we had over 500 staff members that could not work in their capacity as hired. Either they could not return to work, or they could not, their jobs just were no longer needed because we were at home for 9 weeks. And we were learning virtually for 9 weeks. So 260 of those staff members have been placed in other roles throughout the district to avoid any type of layoff. So the current classified compensation schedules that we have, they're not in line with market value, and we understand that. We had a compensation study for that. We understand that. But I don't think anybody knew that we would go through what we have gone through this period of time. But I think we still have good news. I think we still have been able to work out a good plan for a while. So I would like our CFO, Gillis, to go over what we propose, and then Jebla Bonner-Reed, Chief Human Resource Officer, will go over the timeline for addressing the classified salaries beyond this recommendation.
Thank you, Dr. Harrison. So we are proposing since the salary increase was not funded, we are recommending that we do a one-time lump sum bonus of 3% to be paid out by November 30th, 2020 at a cost of approximately $3 million. This bonus will be funded with one-time savings due to school closure, and as recommended by the comp study, we will have an ongoing review of classified salary schedules that will be a part of future years' budget processes, and salary schedules will be adjusted, pending our funding. Next, we'll have Mr. Jebla Bonner-Reed talk about the timeline.
Thank you, Dr. Harrison, and good afternoon. And thank you, Andrea. And good afternoon, board members and finance committee members. So in terms of our classified salary timeline that we're going to do in order to achieve greater results, from September through December 2020, I'm actually going to turn on my camera. From September through December 2020, we're going to establish a compensation committee. What we mean by that, identify the members, identify the guidelines and guiding principles during this time. And then November of 2020, we're going to kick off our budget process. And then also in November, we will pay out that 3% one-time classified bonus that was just mentioned on November 30th. And then by December, we're going to start reviewing with this compensation committee the new salary schedule and gain feedback and collaborate on that with the compensation committee. Then in February 2021, we're going to present the proposed new salary schedules to the board and gain your approval. And then on March 2021, we're going to begin an analysis of the current salaries versus this new salary schedule for groups of employees and begin monthly reports to the board on the status of this analysis, as well as begin to implement the new salary schedule. So that is our timeline for the classified salaries. I'm going to move on and actually talk a bit about, sorry about the noise. I'm going to move on and talk about the principal salaries per the Senate Bill 818 and House Bill 1105. There'll be no change to the policy for 4141, and the NC General Assembly did not change the principal schedules for this year, and principals will not see a change in pay in July. Principals who received a bonus, though, in October 2019 will receive the same bonus as they did in 2019. And then in January, the principal pay will not change for ADM due to the hold harmless legislation recently established unless a principal changed schools since last year. The principal pay for ADM will be based on 2019-20 enrollment. And of course, the criteria for all of this is that you must be employed as a principal in a public school as of October 1st, 2020. As for our assistant principals, there's no change to our policy, and they will receive a one-step increase for 2021. And the local supplement schedules will increase based on changes to the teacher local supplement schedules. And as recommended by the compensation study that was done in the spring, school administration pay schedules will be reviewed during the 2021-22 budget process. So the criteria for that is that you must work at least 120 days in 2019-20 school year. If an employee does not meet this criteria, they will remain on the 2019-2020 rate. So that basically wraps up our compensation changes and compensation information.
So I think we have a question, Member Kaplan.
Yes, thanks so much. So a couple of things. I want to talk about our education support professionals, AKA classified employees. I like that other term.
I do too.
The classified salary study, is it available to the public? Can they see that, that we did in the spring? Is it somewhere posted?
Well, we did present the high-level results of it back in the spring, and really the results is that we need to continue to study it. That's why we're actually getting the compensation committee together. That's why we're going to present to you the schedule by February so that we can execute on it. But that was like the leading recommendation, is that we need to take a closer look.
Okay.
So Ms. Kaplan, it's posted in e-board, and it's presented, and then the actual hard copy is in HR, but it's posted on e-board. Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. And back to the 3%, what does that look like for the average education support professional? What kind of money, what are we looking at for 3%?
So
for everybody.
So say like a classified person makes $30,000 a year, they would get $900 bonus.
Okay.
Those 3%.
Okay. Is 30,000 kind of an average salary for classified?
Yeah, if you include all classified, 30,000 is probably a good average. We have some people that make below that, but we do have some people that make above that. So. Okay.
And I know that there was some discussion that I had with Board Member Jones about what does it look like if we could even, is there any way to find enough money to up it to 5%? I know we're probably looking at 5 million, and I guess 3 million for the 3.
Yeah.
Is there any way we can find that savings? Anywhere we can search for that? I would like to receive as much as we could.
Right now, I only can find about 3 million. Because, that's based on actual savings that I know that we have, based on the SRO contract being reduced, the, number of subs that we have not had to hire because teachers are working remotely, and, the savings we've had because kids are not in school. It's kind of hard to say what our savings is going to be because, as we're talking about reopening, we don't know what that's going to cost us to do all the social distancing that we have to do and any additional costs that would be above and beyond what we budgeted for. So it's kind of hard to try to say we can find $5 million at this moment. But, we do know we have identified the 3 million, and that's what we are recommending that we put forth right now.
And I just want to make a statement that I really wish we could get education support professionals in this budget cycle some kind of a raise. I mean, they just deserve it, and they've worked so hard. I just wish we could find a way to do it.
Well, Ms. Kaplan, I want to say that we actually placed a 3%. We put the 3% in the budget request, so it's the same that we requested in the spring, and the money will actually look the same as it would if it were a raise. It's just that right now we feel that some people actually will get more once we start to look at their salary schedules. Over the years, we have had many complaints from staff members about the salary schedule and being placed correctly. And so we feel comfortable that a new salary schedule will right size a lot of people and get them in a good place. But this is really about the same that you all approved back in the spring. It's really the same. And I agree with you. Our classified employees are very important. We just couldn't do without them. Our teachers are front line there with the kids, but they need, we all need our classified. So it equals what we talked about doing in the spring.
Okay, thank you.
And so just to clarify what you're saying, Dr. Harrison, is this 3% was included in that initial budget. It's what you brought to the board back in the spring. It was just not funded by the county commissioners. Right. Because it was an ask outside of our formula, and so right. This is given what you brought to us.
And to be honest with you, the only way we could do, because this is a one-time from savings, because it does equal what I bought to you in the spring. The only way we could make this a raise, meaning that it's ongoing past this year, would be to engage in a reduction in force or layoffs, and that's the only way we could get at that point at this time. Is to actually reduce force, and nobody wants to do that. So this is this, with all of that has gone on, gets us a lot closer to moving forward in a good direction.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for that. I think we have a couple of board members who have questions. First is Ms. Burke and then Ms. Parker.
Thank you, Board Member Jones. Ms. Scullis, Board Member Kaplan asked about average salaries, and you for classified employees or ESPs, and you did say about $30,000. I've been receiving emails from our classified employees who are telling me that their salaries are something like $15,000. So tell us what those for $15,000 would look like.
Well, $15,000, for a person making $15,000 a year, that first person is probably a part-time employee, but they would get about a $450 bonus. It would be 3% of whatever their annual salary is.
Okay, about $450, and you
yes.
said they're part-time?
Yes.
And averaging how many hours a week?
It would depend on their hourly rate. I wouldn't be able to tell you what their unless I knew what their hourly rate was, I wouldn't be able to tell you what their hours a week that are part-time.
Is it possible to provide the board with a salary range for our ESP so that we will have the low, the middle, and the high, and we will have the number of employees who fall within each category, low, middle, and high $30,000 to give us a better idea?
Sure, but the 30,000 I just did a rough average of everybody overall. That was but we do have some people that are above that $30,000, and we have some that are below. And it's based on some people they're part time. Obviously we'll have to make them a full time equivalent to get a good average, but we can work on that.
Okay, and I also want to say that I'm in agreement with Board Member Kaplan. If there's any way possible, we can give more than 3%. If we can do 5% or more, if we can find the money, as we have found money for other jobs, I would love to do that. And I also want to remind the board that before this new board came on board, a discussion had already started with a committee, a compensation committee, and I believe that Board Member Motzinger headed that committee up, and we were already looking at the salaries of our ESPs as well as our teachers, and we had promised a cost of living increase. And so we're almost 2 years in, and they have not received it. And now we're talking about, I believe you said, Ms. Scullis, the timeline would take us on into February 2021. So if we can do something sooner rather than later, I know that our ESPs would appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Burke. Ms. Parker?
Yes, well, one of my questions was exactly Ms. Burke's question, so I'm going to expound on that a little bit. So for a full-time lowest paid employee, what's that salary?
You'll have to give me a chance to pull up our payroll file so I can find that person.
Okay, thanks. And you know, and then roughly what would their 3% bonus look like? And I'll just go on and say some of the other things. I think that I would there again agree that we've been looking at this now for for at least 2 years, and I think there was some talk at our our last finance committee meeting that we had that there might be savings available for other raises and things, and so I'm just wondering if we see those savings, if there's a way that we can do those, that we start looking at some compensation that would maybe begin in January or thereabouts, because I think it's important that we address this as quickly as possible, because it's kind of gone on long enough.
So this is Board Member Jones. Let me jump in. I think from what if I'm hearing our CFO correctly, that these savings would be coming from our current budget that we have in place, which really we kind of have a continuation budget, really not a budget, and that she has identified out of that because of reductions in SRO contract being one of those big ones. This $3 million, and that without knowing what we're going to have to spend maybe above and beyond or for reopening, or what does that look like, that she's not committed to saying I can find those extra $2 million to give the 5% increase. So if I'm processing that right, if I'm not, Andrea, please tell me. But in that case, if we were to put this money, the 3%, and get it out into our classified employees' hands and our educational support staff. I like that too, Ms. Kaplan. If we could get that into their hands in November, that would be good. And then, always the board can look toward the end of our year and see we have savings. Is that something that we want to go back and look at then, or and how we would want to spend that based on if there's any savings. And I'm sure we could probably keep that door open as we go through, but we're just so far on the front end is what I'm understanding, that it's just hard to identify.
Yeah, and I guess that's kind of my point is, as soon as we can start to identify that, either earmark that money and that savings, start to look at that as our first priority, number one, and look at how we can either utilize that money in this school year, or if it needs to be put forth into the next budget, then that. But I think we've got to give some folks some answers early on, because, as we do a budget for the school system, they also have to do a budget for their own households. And so I think it's going to be really important that we know that, and that we make that our first priority, and that that amount, as soon as we have any information about what those amounts might be, that we start looking at those and start planning for those things, so that we can give these folks some answers that they've waited on for a long time, and rightly so.
Thank you, Ms. Parker. Andrea,
Well, I have pulled up our lowest paid classified staff are really our child nutrition staff. And they make an average of about 17,000, like 17,681 if they were full-time.
Okay, so that would be, so what does a 3% bonus for them look like, Ms. Gillis?
About $535.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
okay, I think we have some questions. I think we have Chair Woodbury that has a question or a comment.
Thank you, Chairwoman Jones, and I hope everyone is doing well tonight. And I appreciate everybody's patience while I got logged on over here. So I guess the one thing I will say is that, you know, as I became more acclimated in Winston-Salem Forsyth County Schools, Rhonda Mays, who is the former FCAE president, spent a lot of time talking to me and educating me about all of us are educators in Winston-Salem Forsyth County Schools. No matter what your role, if you're supporting students, then you have that status of being an educator. And I just want to embrace that type of culture here in Winston-Salem Forsyth County Schools so that we don't start to pit one against the other based on who makes what and where. I think we as a board have to hold this collectively together and to, you know, work with the superintendent and staff to make sure this is a great place to work because we offer competitive salaries across the board. And so I just hope we can continue with that culture of we're all educated, just like Board Member Kaplan said, and we all deserve a great competitive salary. I do want to go into the quote unquote salary committee that Board Member Montsinger led, and someone could correct me with the time. I do know that we were transitioning, of course, from one superintendent to the other, and there was thought that we would ask for $40 million. And I remember we almost got laughed out of town over that ask, but it was from the courageous nature of this board that said, hey, we need it in order to create great salaries for our teachers and classified. And so therefore, this board has been trying to do our best to get the salaries increased from teachers to everybody that works in Winston-Salem Forsyth County Schools through our budget proposal to county commissioners. Of course, they're trying to fund the entire county. Of course, the state, you know, pieces in there. And so I think we just have to continue to be advocates around raising salaries in our school district and going through that process that we know is about, you know, at the end of the day, as a board, we're given dollars and then we disperse them based on, you know, some things that I said. I do agree with Board Member Parker that as we are able to find any savings, that we look at those dollars going to those that we could increase and get to a livable wage. But I do want us to recall that we have attempted to get the salaries through classified through Board Member Montsinger's committee or that salary committee by asking the county commissioners for more funding. And I see Board Member Montsinger hand. She can correct me if I'm wrong. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair Woodbury. I think Ms. Bramer's hand was up first and then Ms. Montsinger. So Ms. Bramer, you have some questions or comments?
I do. And I don't want this to come off wrong. I'm trying really hard to figure out how to word this. Yes, I want to see this all happen for all of our staff as well as everybody else. But I think in doing this, we have to realize our funds are limited. They're very limited. And this may affect our ability to go to option B. This may deter our ability to go to option B because we need tons of money to go to option B that we do not have. And we have to weigh it across which one is more important, option B or pay raise. Personally, from my opinion, I think that the pay raise is more important. And I think that using extra money in professional development on how to run a virtual a little more because we're having some issues is a little more important than option B. But I think that we have to realize that the scale this is being weighed on is option B versus spending money. We can't do both.
Thank you, Ms. Bramer. Ms. Motsinger?
Thank you, Board Member Jones. And it's very obvious that as a board, we all have the same goals, as does our superintendent, as do our finance people. So, you know, we're all on the same page here. We all want what's best for all of the employees, teachers, ESPs, everybody, because we value them. I just wanted to mention to Chair Woodbury that $40 million also included several other big asks were tied into it. So it was a big, heavy lift for several things, for a bunch of things, not just classified employees. So I think one of our hopes was to get up to $15 million, a $15 an hour minimum salary for everybody. And again, remembering that the state of North Carolina made a $15 minimum salary for every employee in the state except public school employees. And that's part of the difficulty we're facing now, is that if you work at one of the state universities doing the exact same job as you would do working for the school system, the pay you get paid from the state is entirely different. And that's one of the discrepancies that, through no fault of the district, is real and it's unfair. And I hope everybody asks all the people in the General Assembly, if you are going to make a minimum wage available for all state employees, public school employees should be amongst those people.
Thank you, Motsinger. I think, Ms. Parker, did you have additional questions or comments?
I did. I just wanted to also comment that that there was a committee before even this board for almost a year that studied compensation for teachers and for classified. When I say that they waited a long time, that was also a part of my comment, because that committee met for many months prior to the other committee as well. So this is something that has gone on for quite some time, and so that was a big part of when I said that they've waited a long time. That time frame was included in that as well.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Marilyn. That's true. That some of the work of that committee was around teacher salary supplements, local supplements, and comparing it. And I think that kind of started to move us toward the quarter penny sales tax, but it took quite a while to to get there. So do we have any other questions or comments, board members? We have a couple of things in front of us tonight, and so that would be the 3% is what's recommended at this point. 3% increase for our educational support staff, our classified staff, which would be paid out in November, and then also for us to approve the teacher local teachers supplement schedule, which would include the $2,000. Which is really about $1,285 over what they had last year, because that $715 is included in that. So that is what we have on our agenda as consider approval of the 2021 compensation recommendations. I think we have a question by Ms. Burke. Ms. Burke?
Yeah, Board Member Jones, will this stipend be retroactive as of July 1?
The teacher one, yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Dr. Harris.
And I believe too, I'm glad you brought that up, Ms. Berg. That was a great question. And then also this, we are looking, if this is approved tonight, that the teachers would be compensated in their October pay.
No, we actually, Andrea, correct me if I'm wrong, I think if we get it approved to the full board Tuesday, we'll have time to get it in their September paycheck.
Well, I think payroll starts before then, so I have to double check, but I don't want to promise that it will be in there because payroll has already opened up for the, we open up payroll weeks before the
Okay.
actual payroll starts.
So we'll let everybody know. Yeah, okay, I'm sorry.
Okay, so October is a safe bet for the teacher.
Yeah.
If we cross our fingers, everything go well in September, but it looks like we'll promise October and then November for the classified. Ms. Burke, do you have an additional question?
I do not. Thank you so much for the answers.
Okay, the little hand sometimes goes up and down. It's hard to tell. Committee members, do we have a motion to approve these compensation recommendations?
Are we talking about the classified together?
They're on together as one action item tonight or this afternoon. What's the pleasure of the committee?
Could I make a substitute motion to try and get the classified compensation instead of the 3% at 4% if we can find the savings?
Ms. Kevin, I really can't make that recommendation tonight because again, we've looked at it and I would like to, if we could do the 3%, and the reason it's in November is because we have a lot of employees who are not working, and we want to make sure they come back. And I would suggest that we, as Ms. Parker had said, that we get kids back, we look at our dollars, and there's nothing wrong with giving those additional, and especially after our audit, to look at our fund balance. And after we look at our fund balance and see where we are, we could give it to them second semester if you so choose. For me to commit to 4% right here would mean that it would be layoffs, ma'am. We would have to release some employees. And because we have not, we just don't have because 3% is what we budgeted and that's where we were. So if you would give us an opportunity to bring back some proposal after our audit for second semester, that might be a better, more solid recommendation.
Okay, thank you.
So this is Elizabeth, and I make a motion that we approve what has been presented to us tonight.
Okay, so we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second, Board Member Parker.
Thank you, Ms. Parker. And so, Dr. Harrison, would you take the roll, please?
Certainly. Board Member Jones?
Yes.
Andrea Bramer? Ms. Bramer? Oh, okay.
I don't know if Andy.
Yes, somebody muted me. Yes.
Yes, Board Member Kaplan?
Yes.
Board Member Motzinger?
Yes.
And Board Member Parker?
Yes.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Okay, that concludes the business we have before us this evening. Thank you all for joining us, and have a blessed night.
Thank you.
Thank you. You're adjourned. Good night.
Thank you for joining us on your school channel, Cable 2.